Hey everybody, my name is Matt McPhee. Thanks for checking this video out. So just a little bit about me before I get ready, before we start talking. I work at the Business Development Center with Jared and with Michael and with whoever else you may have seen videos from up to this point. And my specialty here at the Business Center is I do a lot of our coaching and consulting work with our small and medium-sized business clients. So what that means is I help them do a lot of assessments and moving forward with their business and identifying challenges and opportunities. And that's what I'm going to take about 10 minutes to talk to you about today. So I thought the best way to do that would be to actually run everyone through a short exercise using some worksheets that we're going to go through here in a second, so that you'll both have a resource that you can refer back to, and so that you'll be able to quickly assess your business and to see where your challenges and opportunities are. So with that in mind, you should now have a copy of a PDF fillable form that you can reference. So if you want to open that up now to follow along, that'll be great. You'll actually be able to click in the form as we're talking, so you can follow along with the video if that works for you. So the assessment here that we're going to be looking at is really useful, I think, for my clients, and I think for you as well, because it gives you a really quick 10-minute or less assessment on where things are at. And I'm a big believer in assessing your business, because without benchmarking where you're at now, it can be really difficult to make strategic decisions on where to move forward and where to focus your time. Because I'm sure you all know, as starting entrepreneurs, there's probably 1,000 different ways you could spend your time on any day that you get up to work on your business. So it's really important to be able to prioritize where that time's being spent so you can maximize it going forward. So this tool is from a package that we use called Growth Wheel. And obviously, if you're looking at it now, you can see Growth Wheel comes from the fact that it's circular. And this is just one small piece of the Growth Wheel package, but we're going to stick with this today and move forward with it. So what you'll see in front of you is essentially a circle with 20 slices in it. And each one of those slices should have a little keyword outside of it that says something like marketing or finances or funding or whatever it might be. And each one of those slices represents a functional area of your business or any business. So you might see a few that you're really good at. You might be great at marketing, or you might be great at customer service or that sort of thing, and spend all your time there, and that's fantastic. You might also see some that maybe you've never thought about before at all. Maybe you've never thought about patent protecting your app or your website or your technology, or perhaps you've never thought about developing a partnership agreement that addresses what you and your friend put into the business. And that's okay too. So that's what this is about, is giving you a starting point to think about how to spend your time. So the way we're going to use this first is I'm going to run you through 3 different quick assessments that should give you a bit of a comparison. So the very first assessment is to look at those 20 functional areas and think about where your challenges are. So what I mean by that is you might have a big challenge right now in your technology. Maybe you have a great idea that you're struggling to implement through a website, or you don't know a coder that could do it for you. So what you're going to do with the Growth Wheel tool is go around that circle, and for each one of those functional areas, think about, is this a challenge for me, and how much of a challenge is it? The way you'll indicate that is if a particular area is a big challenge for you, you'll want to fill it up. You'll want to fill that slice up right to the top. If there's no challenge at all, if you feel like you have that part of your business locked down, you can just leave it blank, and you can kind of fill in the middle there, depending on how big of a challenge you think it is. So you'll take about 10 minutes to go all the way around that circle, filling in each one of those challenge areas. So you can pause the video and do that now if you want. And once you're done, you can take a look at it, and it should be a visual representation of where your challenges are. So you can run this by your partners, run it by some other advisors you might have, or think about it yourself and see if it makes sense. So what I'll get everyone to do now that you've finished the challenge part is either save that document, you can print it off, I believe, or just put it to the side, because we're going to come back to it in a minute. What I'd like you to do now is actually open up a second document, the same Growth Wheel assessment tool. And what we're going to do now is, instead of thinking about challenges, we're going to talk about opportunities. So what I'll get you to do this time is exactly the same process. You're going to go around that wheel and you're going to think, how much of an opportunity is this particular area for me to grow? So say, for example, you might have a huge opportunity to grow if you can get some funding for your business locked up. To indicate that, you would simply fill that slice all the way. Maybe there are some other areas where you don't really think there's any opportunity to move your business along, and that's great, so you would just leave that blank and, anywhere in the middle. Now you can take another 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, and go around that circle again, thinking about where are my opportunities. So once you've done that, save the document, put it to the side, whatever you might do. So now we've done challenges and we've done opportunities, and you have visual representations for both. And that's great. So we'll put those two to the side and we'll come back to that in a second. We're going to do one last and final assessment. And this is, I think, an important one. It's also a bit of an eye-opener too for people who haven't really thought about this before. So open up one final document, one more clean page. And this time we're going to use the wheel to analyze where you spend your time. And I don't mean where you spend your personal time. I mean, when you're working on your business, what are you directing your time towards? So, it could be you spend all your time on marketing. Maybe it's you spend all of your time talking to your customers, which is fantastic. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's just about assessing what you're doing. So you're going to go around that circle one last time, looking at where you spend your time. If you spend lots of time in an area, again, you've probably caught on now, you fill that slice up. If you don't spend any time at all in a particular functional area, leave it blank and anywhere in between. So you'll take one more 10-minute stretch. You're only up to about half an hour now. We're not spending too much time on this, but go around one more time, spend 10 minutes and honestly assess where you spend your time. Not where you think you should spend your time, but where you're actually spending it. Okay, so you should be done now with all 3 assessments. First we looked at challenges, then we looked at where you think opportunities are, and finally we looked at where you spend your time. Now, if you've printed this off or you have them in some sort of a layout on your desktop where you can see them all at once, you might start to see some patterns showing up here. The big ones to look for are where you're spending your time. Does that match up with where your challenges are? Are you actively addressing your challenges, or are you hiding from them? Are you running away from a challenge area and spending all your time on a different aspect of your business that doesn't need any help at all? That happens a lot. Sometimes it's hard to address those challenge areas. On the flip side, are you, putting your time towards where you think your opportunities are? If there's lots of opportunity for you in developing your market, how come you're, not spending your time there instead of doing something else? At a certain point, entrepreneurs, they are really good at developing their technology or their idea, but they have a hard time in transitioning from spending their time on the development side and actually moving it to the market. So that could be the point where you're at now. And finally, you have to think about, are you spending your time in an appropriate way? Are you just doubling down on that one thing that you're really good at the expense of all of the other areas of your business? Are you ignoring one or more functional areas? There's all kinds of different ways that you could use this assessment. And again, there's no right or wrong way to look at this. It's essentially a visual representation of where you're spending your time and if you think you're spending it wisely. So you can keep redoing this over and over and over again. And I think one of the key takeaways is that if there's an area for you or an opportunity to move even a couple of hours of your time every week to a potential area that might help grow your business, this could be a good opportunity to do that. So hopefully you were able to work through that assessment fairly easily without too much problem. If you do have any questions about that or about any other strategy type decision, I actually have access to hundreds of growth wheel sheets like that for different functional areas. So say, for example, if you're having some challenges with marketing, I have a lot more documents like this that I can send you electronically, and we can work with either via email or via phone. And if you're interested in contacting me to find out more information about that, you can find me at either by phone at 902 491-6502. You can get me at email at matt.mcphee@smu.ca. So all that information now is up on the contact slide in front of you. So I just encourage you to reach out, ask me questions about that, and we can work on how to develop your time more effectively to take advantage of those strategic opportunities. Thanks.